Hello, my name is Kelly Heckman, and I'm the co-founder of FiXiT, a nonprofit dedicated to ending companion animal overpopulation by creating marketing and incentive-based strategies to give all pet owners the desire and ability to get their animals spayed and neutered. In this webinar, we're going to go through the process FiXiT used when we created our focused messaging during the Final Fix project on St. Croix. Testing messaging was one of the primary considerations for the Final Fix project. We wanted to see how different messages would draw attention and get people to take action. We had just one goal, to increase demand for spay and neuter, and with only a handful of people participating in the local voucher program, we thought we could do a pretty good job. We wanted to engage the people that would otherwise not spay and neuter their animals. As I've described in previous lessons, we had gathered information about the St. Croix community with our preliminary assessment, the advisory committee, the perception survey, and an animal census before we began thinking about our messaging. We knew we wanted to focus on dogs, so dog caregivers, dog issues, and dogs on our advertising. We decided this because the number of dogs entering the shelter system outweighed cats 2 to 1. This is not necessarily because there were more homeless dogs than cats on the island at large, but this is because more people on St. Croix identified dogs as needing human care than cats, which were considered more like wildlife that could live on their own. During our perception survey, 77% of people identified themselves as caring for dogs only or for both dogs and cats, whereas only 43% identified themselves as caring for only cats or both dogs and cats. And of those people identified as caring for dogs, they were more likely to say that their animals were unaltered, only 30%, whereas 46% of caregivers fixed cats. This is very low compared to the national averages, however, in which only 17% of dogs remain unaltered and 9% of domestic cats. Also from our spay-neuter survey, we knew that expense, breeding, feeling it was unnecessary, and lack of motivation were big issues that people commonly cited as reasons for not spay and neutering. Relatively few made a conscious decision to not spay and neuter because of health concerns, feeling that spay and neuter were unnatural or that it would change their pet's behavior. We digested all this and also identified pain points, challenges, and other needs and desires that we thought would be important for generating interest in spay and neuter. During the census, we were able to observe some common issues and behaviors of pet owners, such as allowing them to roam free, exposing them to other dogs and cats in the neighborhood. But there is also a fear associated with dogs on the island. Many people, when taking a walk, will bring with them a large stick for protection against stray and free-roaming dogs. One day, while I was taking my dog Diamond, an adorable Boston Terrier, not what I'd call vicious-looking, for a walk downtown Christiansted, when an older lady raised a big stick to smack Diamond as we came down the sidewalk. I can only hope that she didn't see me behind a column, but some people have deep-seated issues with dogs on St. Croix. Diamond was spared, thankfully. With this information, we came up with 6 big categories of messaging topics that we wanted to test. We started with expense, which is the number 2 reason for not spay and neutering behind the desire to breed. Number 2 was a high euthanasia rate or death of animals in the shelter system. Number 3 is public safety, given the fear I described with the big sticks, was an issue that we felt would resonate well with people. And number 4, being good guard dogs. With the number of dogs I saw on a chain, we knew this was a common practice on the island, and we wanted to address how spay and neuter would not negatively impact and possibly enhance the ability of a dog to watch over people's property. Number 5 were female issues, which we reflected on conversations with our advisory committee about reasons for surrendering female dogs. And then 6 were family issues. Family is the most important relationship for people on the island, and we wanted to capitalize on pets as being part of this unit. Humane Society United States found that a compelling message for people to take action was to think about how the fate of your puppy's puppies. They could end up sad, sick, and homeless. We then mapped out how to express these big concepts with some specific issues and titles focusing on how to solve the problems of misinformation and focusing on the pain points of the people we were trying to target. We identified 2 to 3 points related to the message that would turn into ads to be tested. Among these, we included the issue that female dogs were commonly surrendered to the shelters after they had given birth multiple times, and the elasticity of the tissue in the mammary glands is lessened and the dogs end up with long drooping nipples, making them physically unappealing to their caregivers. This often coincides with the pet owners keeping a female puppy for the litter to start the cycle all over again. This was such a bizarre concept to us that we decided that we were curious to see how it would play out as an ad. So we had 6 big concepts with 2 messages each. That meant we had 12 total concepts to turn into advertisements. For each of those, we chose 2 different graphical styles to test from: modern, urban, portrait, and cutesy. And these 2 styles we chose for each of the 12 concepts was based on the audience we felt we were directing advertisement toward. For this ad on the right, we wanted to appeal to women, particularly young women, and bond with their female dogs being hounded by boys. In total, that gave us 24 ads to narrow down to the 5 that we wanted for our marketing campaign. Now, going through our messages and ads, we first addressed the issue of expense. Here we wanted to let people know that 1, expense is not as much as you think it is. Not only was a low cost available with vouchers from the animal shelter, there was also a separate foundation that was offering surgeries at the time for just $25. When we began offering service, we would keep $25 as our initial price point. And number 2, we wanted to also convey that prevention was cheaper than having to pay for the large costs of feeding and caring for more dogs. St. Croix had a very high euthanasia rate that we wanted to address in our advertising. For the first ad focusing on this issue, we focused on the statistics, breaking them down into units of time. And for the second ad, we wanted to debunk the myth that there's always homes for all the boxes of puppies being dropped off at the shelter. For these ads targeting people with guard dogs, we wanted to play up females' natural jealous tendencies that their man might be looking around at other ladies, blurring the lines between the humans and dogs, then interjected that idea with the concept that looking around for females, it might make them less effective guard dogs. On the right we say, cut your dog and he won't be coopin'. Coopin' was a word introduced to us by our advisory committee that we wouldn't have known otherwise. That means acting flirty. From other group studies as well as our own experience, public safety was found to be a pretty compelling message, so we wanted to focus 1 on dog bites and 2 packs of roaming stray dogs. Here you can see we use again the word cut, also based on our advisory committee's insight and experience we had during the perception survey. This brings up the point that we would try to use more than 1 synonym for spay and neuter within each ad, if possible, just to make sure we had successfully communicated the service we were providing, since we had so many challenges during the spay-neuter perception survey with that. And then we had our 2 female issue messages. One was to keep the boys away while keeping females innocent, and the other was focused on the drooping nipples that we discussed before. Last, we used the concept of family and protecting one's family to get people to think about what happened to those puppies their dog had produced, or the fate of the puppies that their puppies' puppies had. We also saw a lot of pride that people had for dogs that were purebred. One man that I met while putting up posters at a gas station one day had several teeth missing, but he happily described how he had purchased 2 blue pit bulls for $1,200 each. We integrated this idea with precious puppies may end up sick, demonstrated by a mangy puppy photo. So just to summarize, I didn't show you all 24 ads here, but we had 6 message topics focusing on 2 issues each, with each of those getting 2 different graphical styles. Now we needed to figure out how to narrow these down into only 5 that we wanted to use for our marketing campaign. In the next lesson, I'll describe how we performed our message testing. Learn more about FiXiT, SMART, or our other programs to help reduce companion animal euthanasia at fixit-foundation.org or join us on social media.